What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Voice of College Football 365. I'm your host, Jay Rob, and I'm back with my guy, Donnie, for another installment of the Voice of College Football 365. Everybody who joined right now, make sure you hit that comment button, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell us what type of topics you want us to talk about. We got a good slate going over the most overrated and underrated teams in college football. Great list here curated by Donnie. Make sure y'all give him a follow. Picks and spreads across all the social medias. One of the best young up-and-coming talents in the sports media game. Really knows his ins and outs. One of my faves, just from a standpoint of he actually cares about the X's and O's. Everything comes from a place of really loving just the flat-out game. So definitely tap in with him. But we're going to open this up, Donnie. We're going to get right into it. College football, college alignment, conference realignment, is really getting after it already. And Texas State joins the Pac-12 in a move that kind of I didn't see coming, but it's a huge move for that program with recruiting, obviously playoff contention. I think the Pac-12, the winner of the Pac, will always get a shot into the college football playoff. I think in this new landscape, they'll at least be that 9 to 12 seed for sure. But with that being said, what were your thoughts on this move?
I think, like you said, I think it's great for Texas State. Ever since the Pac-12 kind of dissembled, with all those teams kind of leaving, some going to the ACC, some going to the Big 12, and obviously the big boys going to the Big 10, Oregon, USC, Washington, and UCLA. The Pac-12 had to rebuild. They had to start from basically the ground up. All they had was Oregon State and Washington State, and actually, I want to say this real quick because I thought it was kind of funny. Some guy said they should honestly rename the Pac-12 to just the state conference because every single team in that conference has a state in their name.
That's true. That's
kind
true.
of crazy. It's kind of crazy. It's like that, but
except for Gonzaga for basketball.
Yeah, except Gonzaga. But no, man, it's absolutely awesome, man. That the Pac-12 is continuing to do this because I truly thought the Pac-12 was just going to disappear. It was going to pull like a Big East in football where it was just going to disappear and it was only going to bring in basketball schools. But no, they're bringing in football schools. They're bringing in Boise. They're bringing in Colorado State. They're bringing Texas State, who's had some nice years over the last few years. So I'm all in for it. I think it's very smart by the Pac-12, and obviously, they aren't the prime Pac-12 they used to be.
Right.
But this is something that they can absolutely grow on, and it's going to be huge for Texas State with all the marketing and all the recruits that are possibly going to go there now.
And I think what's good for this conference as well is there's going to be a lot of schools who are going to be interested in making that conference a little bit bigger. Like I can easily see it getting back. It's at 8 teams now. I can see it getting back to 12 from a football. I think it's 9 if you include Gonzaga for basketball, correct?
Yes.
But football, it's 8. So you add 4 more to make it 12. I mean, I think this conference has a lot of potential. And honestly, Donnie, we got to give kudos to Washington State and Oregon State for not flopping. Being able to establish the conference. It is good that those two programs are still in the conference because I feel like in terms of who is respected as a Power 5 program as it would stand, it would be Washington State, Oregon State, and then honestly, I think Boise State gets enough leeway to be considered a top-level program just with how they can compete with the rest of the country. Now, for the 4 teams that they can reach out to, there's a lot of names. Honestly, I don't want to go too far into that rabbit hole, but there are some programs that I think could potentially be interested. Sacramento State is the first one that comes to mind. They're obviously looking to go Power 5, and they have clearly the money and resources to get that done. So I can see the Pac-12 being the next school out of the Pac-12. I could also see if North Dakota State wants to make that jump to 1A, I think Pac-12 would be the perfect conference for them to go to because they really have spent the vast majority of the century beating up on Pac-12 teams anyway for the greater before for a while. So I think it would make sense for them to potentially be considered. I know there is some infrastructure issues with the fact that they only have, I think, 1 airport in North Dakota, the contingent to where they actually play. So I think that might be a little bit of a conflict. But listen, when there's a will, there's definitely a way. And so, the only thing I think of with the Pac-12 too that will be weird is like, are you going to keep going more east to get other teams? Like, would Tulane be interested? You know what I'm saying? Are they looking to get out of the American Conference? You know, how far east would you be willing to go? You know what I'm saying? So, I look at my UConn Huskies. They're looking to get into a bigger conference. They might be considered. They got some money coming in as well. So when I look across the landscape of college football, I think this Pac-12 just got real intriguing for sure. Got really, really intriguing. But
I think another team also real quick is UNLV. They've been on the up and coming for football. They've gotten a lot of NIL money recently.
Mm-hmm.
I believe back-to-back Mountain West Conference title games against Boise, which granted they lost both of them, but the fact that they made it at all back-to-back, the football team's up and coming. So that's another team.
And they have a market. Let's be honest. Las Vegas is a market. They're trying to put they're already putting all these professional teams there. Vegas is a real market now. You have to look at them as a legitimate player. So that was a great call. I totally 1,000% agree with that. So to get into this list, I think we'll go with the most underrated, and then we'll finish with the most overrated, because I think we might end up disagreeing on some of the overrated. I haven't seen all of them yet, but I think the underrated, I think we're about the same in a lot of these areas. Mm-hmm. All right. So we'll go through the first one. The first underrated team is Clemson. So tell me your thought process on this one.
I'm mainly looking at the over-under right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
9.5 to me is, and I don't want to be mean, but that's a joke. Right. That is an absolute joke. This team went 9-3 last year, and the roster is essentially the same.
And better.
Better, like this is, and we'll get to some other ones that I think are a little ridiculous. This is a hammer that over.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario. What is the worst case scenario? You lose to LSU.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, maybe you lose to South Carolina. Mm-hmm. And that's the worst case. I don't see them losing it. They're not playing SMU. They don't play Miami. They're avoiding all the top teams in the ACC. So what is, like, 10-2 to me is the floor. And to me, this team could go 12-0. This is a national championship contender. I said last week, this is the best roster on paper in the country. This is the best defense in the country. This is one of the best offensive lines in the country. This is top 5 receiving core. This is going to be a great run game. You have a top 5 quarterback. Like 9.5, and they're ranked number 10, by the way, which I think is criminally low.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. To me, this is an easy slam in the over. And I think the national media is a little bit low on them. When I saw them ranked at 10 on the Way Too Early ESPN poll, I kind of stopped and was confused. I was like, was this team not is this team not essentially the same, except now they have another year of experience?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think 10 is honestly criminally low. I think they're clearly the best team in the ACC, and I'd argue they're one of the 4 best teams in the entire country. I mean, when you look at the roster top to bottom, Cade Klubnik will be in a situation where he can be in New York for the Heisman Trophy. And where this thing, to me, makes it obvious that they should be one of the 5 teams in the country is, I mean, Donnie, the schedule is just so favorable. I think they're better than LSU. Like, I have them winning that game flat out. The game that, ironically, outside of the SMU game that scares me the most is coming off a 2-week bye and having to play Duke. Just because I think Darian Mensah is a guy, and I don't think Duke is rolling over for anybody in the ACC this year. So I just look at it more like a trap game than like they'll lose. It's just that'll be a game I'll circle. Could be spooky. And listen, the Florida States of the world, we don't know, man. It's not. They're not a team where we're like, oh, they got to play Florida State this year. It should be like we don't know what that team's going to be, right? And then the only other one is like the South Carolina game at the end. Yeah, we both believe in Sellers as a guy. We believe in that team. So yes, if they lose that one, okay. And it's a rivalry game. It's a lot on the line. It's the last game of the season. Your rival. But you know what makes that game, for Clemson a mulligan is if they went out regardless. If that's their one loss, I mean, it's out of conference. It has no implications on their playoff berth, their ACC championship hopes. Nothing. Everything is front of Clemson, and I think they have to me, the best road. To me, the easiest road, one of the easiest roads compared to the upper echelon teams in getting a top seeding in the college football playoffs.
I completely agree.
All right. Penn State. This one kind of surprised me that you got them as an underrated team, but I want to hear your thoughts on it.
So I think the national media is rating them perfectly fine. I think they are a top 5 team in the country. I think the over-under is completely fair. What the over-under is essentially saying is, okay, they're going to beat every team on here, but are we sure they're going to beat Ohio State and Oregon? And if they are, can they beat at least one of them? That's what the over-under is telling me. which I think is completely valid. So I'm all in on that. Obviously, I don't think any team in the country should have an over-under of 11-0. I think putting 12-0 expectations on a team is kind of unreasonable, especially when you're in a big conference like this.
Right.
So I think that's fine. The reason I put them as underrated is because the fans of college football are out on Penn State. There's a lot of Drew Aller haters out there. There's a lot of Penn State haters out there, and I get it. They disappointed. They disappointed them in that playoff run against Notre Dame. That game against Notre Dame was awful. That was That was one of the worst games I've ever seen from Drew Aller play in his career. And people are low on him. And there are people out there saying he's not even a top 3 quarterback in the Big Ten, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah,
there's
I agree.
There's people that think that USC is better than this team. People think that fans think maybe Michigan could be better than this team. To me, that's absolutely ridiculous. This is the best roster in the entire Big Ten for me. They have one of the best defensive lines in the country. Zane Duran and Dennis Sons are going to be an amazing combo. AJ Harris is a potential first-round pick at corner. They returned 4 starters on the offensive line. And we talked about it last week, dude. Revamping that wide receiver core could be huge for them. Trevor Penner was a dominant wide receiver at Syracuse. Devontae Ross over 1,000 yards at Troy. And Kyron Hudson, people love him, dude. We've all seen the clip. We've all seen the clip of him catching that ball whenever he was playing for USC. So I don't know, man. I think the fans are being too mean. I looked in the comments the other day, and people were like, oh, this is a 8 or 9 win team. I'm like, guys, I don't know what you're seeing, man. This is, to me, the best roster in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't underrate them, but from that standpoint, I mean, if people are out on them, like from a fan perspective, is ridiculous. I mean, there's just, to me, Penn State is a no-brainer. If somebody picked Penn State to win the Big Ten, I feel like that's like, I'm there with you. Yeah. Like, I mean, again, I think I said this last week, the pressure for Penn State to deliver this year is through the roof because there's just really no excuse for them not to deliver. Everything that you need is right there in that locker room. And to me, the X factor, Donnie, James Franklin.
I agree.
You're the X factor. What are you going to do to make sure this roster, to get the most out of this roster? Because there's just, if they lose 3 games this year, I think there will be a conversation about James Franklin. It'd have to be.
Yes, this roster is too good.
Like, the roster is incredible, man. There's no reason for them to not be in a college football. Like, I expect the championship to be Big Ten Oregon versus Penn State. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
I agree. Right. I completely agree.
The LSU Tigers come in at number 3. So I'm assuming because of the over/under at 8.5.
Dude, that's ridiculous. 8.5.
Yeah.
8.5.
Yeah.
This may be a hot take, dude, and maybe call me crazy. Is this the best team in the Is this the best team in the SEC? Is it?
See, the thing is, bro,
I think it might be.
It could be. It could be. It definitely damn well could be. But the problem is, Donnie, I don't know who the best team in the SEC is. I really don't. Right. Like, my issue with the SEC this year is, for the first time, I feel like in all my years of watching the SEC, I legitimately don't know who's coming out this conference. Like, I know there's going to be probably 2 or 3 teams that get in.
Yeah.
But the winner, no. I don't know, Donnie. The problem is, LSU, if they're the best, I'm with it. But also, what is that defense about to look like? Because that's their biggest issue. And now, look, they got some names back. I love Harold Perkins being back. But regardless of the names, Donnie, they have not given me anything over the last 2 years to feel comfortable about making them my pick for the best to win the SEC. Now, they can win it. It's very much possible. But I couldn't, like, this is one of the programs I don't think I would sprinkle a future on to win the SEC. I look at Alabama. I don't know what Ty Simpson is. We've been hearing about him for a few years. Camp this, stories here. I don't know. And
I don't know what's up with him.
I really feel like he has the shortest leash of any quarterback in the SEC. Like, I think his seat is Austin Mack to Keelan Russell immediately if he doesn't play well.
Yep.
And then Oklahoma, I don't think they're rolling over. If you told me Texas, Arch, I don't know what Arch is going to be. There's so many question marks. But I'd be more confident in Arch Manning in Texas than I would be right now in LSU if I were to pick a team in the SEC. I think the 8.5 over under is a little bit. They're lowballing them though, for sure. I think this is a 9-10 win team possibly this season.
I completely agree, man. I mean, when I look at this roster, I think I don't have any major questions, but there's one spot I do, but I'll get to that. I think the wide receiver core is great. I love Nick Anderson. I love Baron Brown, Aaron Anderson. I love Nuss. I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the country. Yep. Caden Durham was one of the exciting freshman running backs last year. It kind of felt like he got undershadowed a little bit because, Isaac Brown was so dominant at Louisville, but Caden Durham is not any type of slough. He's going to break out in a massive way and be one of the 3 best running backs in the country after next season, I believe. I'm not a big Patrick Payton fan as a prospect, but I know that there is talent in there. And I think if there's any chance he can break out and be that player, it can be here. Hayward Perkins, Whit Weeks, I mean, that is quite literally a top 3 linebacker duo in the entire country. They're up there with probably, I mean, Texas is up there too, just because they have the best one in the country, Anthony Hill. But no, I think this defense is going to be great. The one question I have is going to be the offensive line because they did lose 3 starters, and you lost the big one. You lost the top 5 player, Will Campbell, who's been your superstar golden boy left tackle for the last 3 years. And now replacing him with Tyree Adams, a kid who I like, but those are really, really big shoes to fill.
I agree.
So, and that is the one issue I could see with LSU collapsing is if that offensive line disappoints. Nuss is not a guy, as good as he is, he's not a guy who's going to be running around making plays out the pocket. He wants to stay in the pocket and make those tight window throws. And if he does have time, he's going to be able to do it. But will he have time? I'm willing to bet that he'll have enough to get, in my opinion, over 8.5.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they'll have enough too. I agree. I think the over-under is too low. Oklahoma, now, this is outrageous. If you are a gambler, I'd put your month's rent on this one.
Yep.
And I know that's probably horrible advice.
6.5, man.
6.5 wins.
6.5.
Horrible. Like
6.5.
I don't think people realize how much better this program got adding John Maytier and Jaden Ott to this team. Yep. Those are 2 absolute playmakers, and all you had to do, and they're veteran level players, excuse me. I think people are failing to realize that Oklahoma, they're beating Michigan week 2 of the season. I'm putting it out there right now. Oklahoma will beat Michigan week 2 of the season. I think they're running through Auburn. Texas is going to be a game. Now, they do have a gauntlet. Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Alabama week 12. Those will be some games where, okay, we'll see.
That was you too.
But they're winning out of those 4 games. They're winning 2 of them. This is not a program this is a severe, this is clearly telling you the nation is out on Oklahoma.
Yep.
They are only got them ranked in the top 16, Donnie, because they have a potential Heisman candidate in John Maytier.
At quarterback, yep.
That's it. They're getting the benefit of doubt for being the Oklahoma Sooners.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Because a 6.5 over under is so disrespectful just because they had a down season. This team is, first of all, they're going to be able to play defense. Their issues were not defense last year. Their biggest issue was offensive production. They more than answered that at 2 premium positions for offensive players. I mean, this is criminal. This is free money.
I mean, I saw this and I couldn't believe it. Did people not understand how, dude, when you add a top 5 quarterback and a top 5 running back onto a struggling offense, that is going to help. And I know people are out on this offensive line because it was bad last year. They're returning all 5 starters for the second year in a row. The offensive line will improve. I remember when Texas's offensive line was really bad all those years ago, but they kept the same starters 2 years in a row. Guess what? Best offensive line in the country. And I'm not saying this is going to be the best offensive line in the country. I'm saying it's going to be 100% good enough. John Maytier is a Heisman contender. We all know this. Jaden Ott is one of the best running backs in the country. We all know this. Deion Burks is a super talented kid who just got hurt last year. If he's healthy, he's going to produce. The defense is going to be good because of Venables. Why is the over under 6.5?
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't get Illinois State win. I think they beat Texas. They beat Temple. Auburn, I like Auburn. I like
Auburn too. I do
like
too.
Auburn. So I think
do.
that could be a 50-50. So for now, let's just say 3-1. Beat Kent State. That's 4-1. Texas, okay, sure. So 4-2. Like, you know what? Let's do worst case scenario. How about that?
Yeah,
worst case
scenario.
They beat Illinois State. I don't see them losing to Michigan. I don't think we'll get to Michigan. I think pretty soon.
Yeah.
I'm not big on Michigan this year.
Neither am I.
3-0. Worst case scenario. Okay, lose to Auburn. You can beat Kent State 4-1. Let's say you lose the next 3. Okay, you're 4-4. I think you can beat at Tennessee. You have a bye going in Alabama. Let's say a loss. You can beat Missouri. That's 5-6, or that's 6-5, and then you lose to LSU. That's 6, and that's the worst case scenario, J. Rob.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario. This is a 6-6 team. That's the worst possible case scenario. Best case scenario, 10-2.
10-2. Yeah, I was just gonna say 10-2.
10-2. Best case scenario, this is a 10-2 team.
But I'm gonna be honest, Donnie. I can see this team I think this could the reality is, and this is why I love college football. John Maytier has the opportunity to take the college football world by storm with this team.
Yep.
And
he's talented, man.
I don't know how much of his tape you've watched.
A lot.
I've watched it a lot. I'll be honest. I've watched it a lot.
Yep.
And
Baker Mayfield, man.
He's like erratic and frenetic in a good way, if that makes sense. Like the things that I dislike about Carson Beck and his inconsistent mechanics, John Maytier makes that work. If you his off platform, in a chaotic pocket, I mean, he finds a way to make it work. I don't think the ball comes out of his hands the same way every time he throws it. But
he kind of does the Matthew Stafford thing or the Mahomes thing. He changes his arm angle 3 times a game. It's crazy, man.
He'll make 4 different throws and they'll look all completely different. And so that's something that for me was the reason why I thought Carson Beck wasn't great, because his mechanics were inconsistent. Balls going into the dirt, into coverage. John Maytier, that's God-given. You know what I'm saying? That is one of those things that when you scout a player, you can't teach that.
Oh, never.
He's one of those guys that as a quarterback coach, you kind of gotta curb his enthusiasm, but not too much, because you can't take away what makes him special. You know what I'm saying? He's that type of player. So I think this is criminal by the media, by the odds makers. But if you are a gambler, this is as good of a future as you're going to get.
Yep.
As good as you're going to get. I'd hammer it. Hammer the over.
Hammer it, man. Couldn't agree more.
All right, let's get to.
All righty. Maybe this is bias.
I was just about to say.
This is what I'll say.
Talk to me about this one.
This is what I'll say. Iowa Hawkeyes. This is what I'll say. And I don't think this team's going to be great. I think this is going to be an average Big Ten team. I just think 6.5 is a little ridiculous. Iowa has not had a season, excluding the COVID year, because that's unfair. There's only 8 games played. That's unfair.
Yep.
Excluding the COVID year, the last time Iowa didn't hit 6 wins was 2013.
Yep.
And the defense lost some pieces. They're going to have one of the most talented defensive lines in, honestly, the entire Big Ten. Ethan Hoku is a very talented pass rusher. Aaron Graves. Epinesa. If you recognize that name.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
Yep. You recognize that name. That's the younger brother of AJ Epinesa for the Buffalo Bills. That is a true freshman 5-star recruit. IOC is extremely talented. I'd expect him to get significant snaps right away. Aaron Graves is, in my opinion, a top 5 defensive tackle in all of college football. Not much of a run defender, but man, he rushes the passer as good as anyone outside of probably Peter Woods and Zane Durant. I don't think there's anyone else better rushing the passer than him. The secondary is going to be good. Xavier Nwampa going into the final year of his college career. Super talented, former 5-star safety as well. The main reason is I think this offensive line is great, man. I see 2 potential top 50 picks. Logan Jones is one of the best centers in the entire country, and Jennings Dunker when you go over the best tackles in the country, you got Proctor, you got Francis, you got Spencer Fano, even though I think he's a guard, but you got Spencer Fano, and you got Jordan Seaton from Colorado. Those are the four best. Jennings Dunker is number 5 right after that. He was one of the best run blockers in the entire NFL, and he fits the modern tackle. And what is that, you're asking? Guys who can dominate in a zone blocking scheme. Jennings Dunker does that better than almost anyone in the country. He has great movement skills, even if he is a little undersized. And then the wide receiver core is older, so at least have some experience. This is potentially the best quarterback Iowa has had, and God knows how long. Everyone knows how bad that passing attack is. But, yeah, man, I don't think this team's going to be any type of special. I think this is going to be about an 8-win team. But to me, I just think over-under of 6.5 is a little ridiculous. I think they can beat Albany. Iowa State's a toss-up because I do like Iowa State this year. I'll give Iowa State the win. They can beat UMass. They can beat Rutgers. They could beat Indiana, but I mean, they're home 50-50. They have a bye. Wisconsin's going to be bad this year. They're going to lose to Penn State. They're going to beat Minnesota, another bye. And then I think they win at least 2 of the next 4 games, if not one of the next 4, which would be enough. So, yeah, to me, I think this is a 7 to 8 win team. I just think the over-under is a little ridiculous. That's all.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, I like Iowa, but we'll see, Donnie.
They're an average team.
We're gonna have to see. But let's move on. So now we're gonna get into an overrated team. Overrated team.
And we're getting spicy with the
Iowa though. If Iowa plays well, I'm looking back at you. Okay, I might hammer that over too. All right, overrated. I'm right here with you. I'm right here with you, Donnie.
Yes, sir.
Easily the most overrated team in college football. They are getting the benefit of the doubt.
10.5 is a joke.
10.5 is a joke. The ranking is a joke. Not only is the ranking and the over-under a joke, they are getting the benefit of the doubt of the G and being a contender for the last few years.
Look at that.
Because when I look over their schedule, there are no signs to tell me that the Georgia Bulldogs are going to be one of the 2 best teams in the country and are going to be a 11-win team. In no world. Because I can circle multiple games on here that I don't – what has Gunnar Stockman proved?
Nothing.
What has he proved?
Nothing yet.
There was not enough in those games he played to make me feel like this guy – is going to catapult this team to a national championship and have them as the number 2 team in the country, where last year they weren't even that talented from a skill position factor like they usually are. It's ridiculous to think that, and this is why I call this is bait. This is bait for gamblers. Popular name, put that money out there. They're the number 2 ranked team. This is bait this is a carrot being dangled at you on a fishing rod. If you take Georgia and you're looking at this team, and Alabama's going to be Alabama, circle it. Auburn, circle it. You know how I feel about Ole Miss, circle it. DJ Lagway's Florida Gators are the biggest wild card in the country.
Not easy.
You got to go to Tech. You got to play Texas. Like this thing is not a.
I think there's a world where this team goes 8-4. I'm not saying it's gonna. I'm not saying it's gonna happen because I think 8-4 is probably the worst case scenario. Because Georgia, we're giving them. They're saying they're the name and stuff. This is a talented team. We're not saying this isn't a talented team. This team has talent, but number 2 team in the country.
Yeah,
they have the second highest over/under. Or they're tied for the highest over-under from the SEC. Them and Texas are at 10.5. I believe Alabama's at 9.5. And then LSU's at 8.5. I don't get it, man. The wide receiver core, the skill position players I like Zach Branch. He has not shown us consistency as a wide receiver. He's shown some great moments as a returner, but that's not enough. Yeah. The run game is going to be questioned. Gunnar Stockman, as much as we didn't like Carson Beck, at least Carson Beck showed more than Gunnar ever has. Yeah. I don't know what Gunnar.
I don't know.
The offensive line, they lost every starting interior offensive lineman. You lose Tate Ratledge, Dylan Fairchild, Jared Wilson. Those are 3 NFL potential starters. They're all gone. The defense is going to be great. We know this. I just don't know what this offense is going to be, dude. And this is a
Too many
tough
question
schedule.
marks.
You got to play Alabama. You got to play Texas. Auburn ain't no gimme. Florida at Florida, that ain't no gimme. Ole Miss ain't no gimme if Austin
Not gonna be a
City's
gimme.
what we think. Like,
Yeah.
I just think.
And then you got to play Texas on the back end of the year. Come on, man.
I think, is this team going to make the playoffs? I think they probably will. I think they'll be a lower end team in the playoffs. There's a chance.
I don't know that, though.
There's a chance they could miss it, but I do think they will get in.
Who are your three? If 3 SEC teams get in, who are your 3 SEC teams?
Well, I think 4 SEC teams get in, but if only 3 get in, I'm gonna
give the college football playoff committee the benefit of the doubt that they have real fairness. I'm gonna say 3 teams get in.
Then I don't think they get in. I think it's gonna be LSU, Texas, and Bama. I don't think Georgia is better, and that's my main problem.
Don't sleep on Tennessee, but I'm not really in on the quarterback.
I'm gonna make a clip about this. I do not think Georgia is a top 3 team in the SEC. I don't either. I think LSU is better. I think Texas is better. I think Alabama's better.
I think Oklahoma is better. I'm going to say
it. They could be. We don't know what Gunnar Stockman is. We don't know what this offense is going to look like. The offensive line the interior is completely different, and their tackles last year weren't even that good. And the wide receivers this year, okay, yes, they got Zach Branch. Cool. He has not shown consistency at wide receiver. I like Oscar Delp. Show me. They gotta show me, man. Yeah. That's just it.
Yeah, I'm not that high on Georgia right now. I think this rating is completely warranted. All right, Michigan Wolverines. I'm gonna be quick because I don't even like Michigan, but I'm gonna just say this straight up. Overrated, 8.5 wins. Honestly, this is about the range though. But they're not. I really don't think they're going to be a contender in the Big Ten. No, I think Penn State's better. Ohio State's better. I think USC is going to be better. I think Washington might be better.
I think Nebraska could be better.
Nebraska should be better this year.
Yep.
I'm just not all the way sold on Michigan. I think Michigan's window will be in 2 years. It'll be in year 2 of Bryce Underwood and year 3 of Bryce Underwood.
I agree.
I think that's when their window opens up. But in year 1, I don't see it. I think this is going to be a retooling year for them. And so an 8.5 win team, I really could see them being like a 7-win team this year. I think 8.5 is really kind of their threshold. I think if they win 9 games this year, I'll be more surprised than I expected it.
Yep. And that's just kind of, especially and they avoid Oregon and Penn State, which is good.
Yeah.
But still, at Nebraska week 4, if Dylan Raiola takes that jump, the defense is going to be good.
Yeah.
That's worrying some. I know there's always the meme of, Ohio State can't. I don't care. Ohio State is better than you. I'm going to pick them to win. I don't care.
Yeah.
And then USC can beat them. Washington can maybe sneak a game up. Michigan State, emotional game.
Yeah.
That's not a gimme. I think Northwestern and Maryland are going to be bad, but still, Oklahoma, I think is going to win. I think
Oklahoma's going to generous. I think Oklahoma beats them by 2 touchdowns, bro.
I agree. I like Bryce Underwood. And, dude, Bryce Underwood, we know what he is. That man is the definition. Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
We are talking the best.
Can't miss prospect. Yeah.
We are talking about the best of the best to come out.
Yeah.
And he's going to be good right away. I'm not expecting him to be elite right away. Now, if he is, shout out him because then he can be on those 2 levels because Trevor won a natty right away. And then we all know what Caleb did versus Texas in his first game was his first game when he was thrown out in the fire. Like that. If he can do that, good for him. But I just think the roster isn't very good. Dude, the one legit weapon was Colson Loveland, and now he's gone.
Yeah.
So, well, I don't know how it's going to look. I like Justin Haynes. I think the run game is going to be decent, but that's the passing attack with those wide receivers as good as Bryce is. I'm not too sure. 8.5 is a little too rich for me. That's all.
Yeah. No, I'm not mad at that. Not mad at that at all.
Alrighty. I'm sorry, Coach Mark. Coach Mark, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Coach Mark, I'm sleeping a little bit on Tennessee.
I'm sorry, bro.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know what they're going to be. I don't know about Joey Aguilar and company, man. I don't know if they win in 9 games, man. I'm going to keep it respectful.
Absolutely.
They're so wait and see for me. It's just the thing is like, are they going to be better than Arkansas? Are they going to be better than Alabama? Can they beat, like, I know we think Georgia's overrated, but I would still say Georgia's better than them.
Yes.
They're definitely not going to the swamp and beating Florida.
No.
Like, Diego Pavia is coming for blood week 14. Are y'all beating Vanderbilt this year? I don't know.
I just have some worries, man. That's all. I'm worried how the run game is going to look without Samson. I'm worried about the offensive line a little bit because they just seemed, and granted, it's Ohio State. Ohio State had one of the best pass rushes in the entire country last year. That offensive line got beat up. Yeah. They got tossed around, and bringing in the offensive tackle one in this year's recruiting class, David Sanders Jr., is going to help. The pass rush is going to worry me. They lost their two best pieces in James Pierce Jr. and Omar Norman-Lott.
Mm-hmm.
Gerard McCoy, I put him on here, and he has an argument to be the best corner in the country for sure, but he tore the ACL. I don't know when he's going to be back. We'll see when he comes back. I think this is a 7-8 win team, dude. I do.
Yeah, I agree.
I look at some, like, because we've talked about it before. Like, I think there's a big four in the SEC, maybe a big three, but I think there's a big four. You got LSU, Tech, in no order: LSU, Texas, Georgia, Bama.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, you got teams like Auburn who could creep up, Oklahoma who could creep up.
Yep.
You got Ole Miss. I don't know if those teams are worse than Tennessee. That's just my thing. I like Tennessee. I just think the SEC this year is loaded. It's going to be significantly better than it was last year. Someone has to be on the bottom of that next tier, and I think it's going to be Tennessee. I just have too many questions about them. They're going to make a bowl game. Obviously, this is going to be a solid team. They're going to be better than what their record says. Like, they're going to go 7-5, and they're probably going to have the talent of a 9-3 team. It's just they're in the SEC. So I have questions about them. That's all.
Yeah, no, I would have the same concerns. I think they're warranted. I mean, ultimately, no disrespect. No disrespect to Tennessee, but I just don't see it. I don't see it.
Yep.
All right, Team 4, Missouri, overrated. Yeah, I don't know if I would even have ranked them. To be honest,
why are they ranked?
I don't even know why they're ranked. This is, to me, the SEC's patch on the jersey that is getting them ranked.
You could argue.
I'll be honest, like, they could lose to Kansas week 2, and it wouldn't surprise me. Like, this is my issue with, like, some of these over-unders, and this is why I'm always, like, the biggest SEC bias deflector in the world, because of stuff like this. Like, this is ridiculous. Their over-under should start at 6.5. Missouri going to the SEC, to me, is one of the worst moves they could have did as a university. Like, money-wise, financially, yeah, it's lit if you win in the SEC. But in terms of winning, Missouri was better off going to the Big 12. They was better off going to the ACC. I just don't see a world. I don't see a world. They were even better off going to the Pac-12. There is just no way in the world, to me.
They're there for the academics, right?
Huh?
They're there for the academics, right?
They're there for the academics. They're there to keep the SEC GPA up. That's what Missouri is there for. They're there for the GPA of the conference. Because when I just look across the landscape, and then I look at the schedule, they might lose to Kansas.
Yep.
They're not better than South Carolina. They're not better than Alabama. They're not getting through Auburn. I don't think they're beating Vanderbilt at home. No. They're not beating Texas A&M. They're not beating Oklahoma, and they're not beating Arkansas. And so when I look over the full-blown roster, I mean, they got some players. Like, I think Kevin Coleman's a good wide receiver, if I'm being honest. Yep. But it's not enough. Like, one guy, one playmaker is not enough, and I think they got some decent guys on defense too, to be honest. Like, I like Zion Young. I think Josiah Trotter, shout out to his father, I think Josiah Trotter got some juice too.
Yep.
But when I look at this team collectively, I'm not all the way.
7.
Yeah, like I think this is a 5-6 win team. Like, if they win 7, 8, them getting to 7 wins will be impressive to me.
Yeah.
So like starting their over under at 7.5, I think I think that's a little outrageous. I do.
And we'll get to the last team because I think we're going to have a different opinion on them. But I think this is one of the bottom 3 teams of the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Pavillia, backup for Penn State last year. He actually played a little bit whenever Drew Allen got hurt. I believe was against Wisconsin and Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the. It was one. I'm pretty sure it was Minnesota.
Yeah,
He played a little bit. He's got some nice legs to him. He's got a decent arm. You know, there's just a lot of questions there for basketball. There's a lot of questions with him. I just think 7.5 is outrageous.
Yeah,
I think this is a 5, 6, maybe even 4-win team. This could be one of the bottom feeders of the SEC next year. Like they disappointed last year with that roster. Last year's roster,
they were a better team last. Yeah, roster wise and talent wise, they were better last year, 100%.
And they went like what 8-4 last year, which means they would have barely hit this over. I think the roster is now clearly worse. The quarterback's worse. The run game's gonna be worse. You lost a superstar wide receiver in Luther Burden. The defense has gotten worse over the years, losing some good corners and obviously losing, first round pick at defensive line. Darius Robinson hurts a lot too. It's tough, man. It's tough. I think this is a problem team.
All right, let's leave this last one. I don't know why you say I might not agree, but let's see what team it is. Oh, Arkansas Razorbacks. Overrated at 5-5. 5.5. That's too much. 6 wins is too much.
All righty. Let me get my point across. I like Taylor.
Schedule is kind of wicked though.
I am a Taylor Green guy.
Same.
I was able to watch a little bit of him last week. Not much, so I can't say too much. But the stuff I liked, I saw a very talented college quarterback. Just needs some room to grow, but that's a lot of guys. Dude, I just don't like the roster. That's just it. I think the defense is going to be okay. Like it's going to be an average defense, and it'll keep them in some games. But the weapons, I'm not in on it, man. And the offensive line last year was pretty bad. I'm not expecting it to make that much big of a jump as well. And the schedule, dude, this is brutal. Like, you win your first 2 games, you can beat. You're not beating Ole Miss. You can beat Memphis. An out-of-conference game is Notre Dame. I don't think you're winning that. Tennessee's better than you.
Yeah, the schedule is brutal.
Auburn's
I agree. They have a brutal schedule.
I think best case scenario, this is a 5-7 team. And that'd be just under. Maybe they can go 6-6 and shock me, make it to a bowl game. I'd be pretty shocked. I think the schedule is way too brutal, man.
Yeah, this schedule is absolutely. I might be leaning more with you because this schedule is brutal. Like the problem is like they're just. I don't even know. Are they going to beat Memphis?
Hey, they're on the road.
On the road at Memphis. Memphis don't play about that American Conference. They go in there to win that conference. They've always been a top dog in that conference. So it's like,
facts.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of there with you. This schedule is tough. Like, Taylor Green is going to have to make an absolute leap for this team to get to like 8 wins, I think.
I agree.
Like if they were to get to like 7, 8 wins, this will be because of the Taylor Green show. Yep. I do think his talent level, though, Donnie, is off the charts.
Yep.
And I will admit that about Taylor Green. His talent level is there with Fellers, Lagway, in terms of just the God-given tools, just Drew Aller. I mean, you look across the college football landscape, you're not going to find too many quarterbacks with more God-given gifts than Taylor Green. The size, the arm strength, the mobility on top of it, it's a lot. And so this team will only go as far as Taylor Green takes them. And I'm going to say this. The difference between them and a lot of teams in the SEC, I'm going to say a lot of top teams around the country, they're going to have to win a lot of games a little dirty and ugly. They're going to have to win some games by 7 points, 3 points. They're going to be in some wars of attrition. Like they're going to have to play like some flawless football at times.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be a team in the SEC that they can't survive their mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can't survive your mistakes, you're not going to be able to survive in this conference. And so, I just feel like it's going to be a lot of pressure on them to be able to compete with these teams because they can't have 2 turnover games. They can't give up special teams touchdowns. Like those are things that they're suicide for this team. So it's just like when I look at it as a whole, they have to go out there and play at the absolute highest level. The chat is crazy. The chat is crazy. But yeah. But with that being said, that's the last team on our list. Shout out to everybody who was rocking with me and Donnie. We'll be back next Tuesday. Have a very safe 4th of July. Be safe, drink responsibly. And we're a few weeks away. We are in July. It's July 1st.
Dude. We're getting
we are officially, we are almost at August. Training camp stories are about to come. It's about to be quarterback battle season. So we are getting there. We appreciate you, Donnie, for making these lists. You're the dopest. This is what makes our show fun. We really rocking. We're doing the depth going into it with you guys. Please leave a like. Please subscribe. Leave a comment. We really appreciate it. This channel is rocking based off y'all rocking with us, and so we appreciate it. And stay dangerous. Peace.